All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a car that's already being called a modern legend. Really, a high watermark for the everyday sports car. This is the story of how Porsche, well, how they created something truly, truly special. The 718 Cayman GTS 4.0. But, and here's the crazy part, it's gone. As this quote from Evo magazine makes crystal clear, production has stopped. Porsche has killed the 718. So, how does that even happen? How does a company decide to stop making what many consider one of the best all-round sports cars ever built? Well, that right there is what we're going to unpack today. Because the really fascinating part of this story is that this car was not an instant success. The journey from what Evo called a shaky start all the way to becoming an icon, now that's the real story. To really get why this car is so loved, you've got to go back to the beginning, back to the controversy. And it all started with a decision that, let's be honest, made a lot of Porsche fans really unhappy. You see, when the 718 generation first showed up in 2016, it did something that for Porsche purists was almost sacrilege. It ditched the classic, screaming, naturally aspirated flat-six engine that was the heart and soul of the Cayman, and in its place, a smaller, turbocharged four-cylinder. Now look, on paper, the new engine made sense. It had more torque down low, and the power figures were good, but driving a Porsche has never just been about the spec sheet, right? It's about the feeling, the noise, the character, and that's what went missing. As the review puts it, the sonic magic had disappeared. It just didn't sound right. But then, in 2020, Porsche did something amazing. They listened. They answered the prayers of enthusiasts everywhere and brought the flat six back. And this, my friends, is where our hero enters the stage, and the redemption story really kicks off. So what made this new engine so incredible? Well, first up, the size, a massive 4.0 liters. And crucially, it had 6 cylinders, laid out in that iconic boxer setup that is pure Porsche DNA. The proper engine was back. And this wasn't just some old engine they dusted off. Oh no, this was a slightly detuned version of the absolute monster from the top dog Cayman GT4, pumping out a huge 394 brake horsepower. And maybe the best part, it was all natural, no turbos, which meant it loved, absolutely loved, to rev, screaming its head off all the way to a 7,800 RPM redline. The sonic magic was definitely back. And check this out. They gave you a real choice, a proper choice. You could go for the lightning-fast 7-speed PDK automatic, which, yes, was quicker to 62 miles an hour, or you could have a proper 6-speed manual. The manual was a little slower on paper, but for just pure driving joy, that was the one. But this car was so much more than just an engine swap. I mean, Porsche went to town on it. It came standard with all this serious kit. A proper mechanical limited slip diff with torque vectoring, active suspension that dropped the car 20 millimeters, bigger brakes. This thing was engineered from the wheels up to be absolutely brilliant. So, you've got the engine, you've got the chassis. What does it all add up to? What does it actually feel like to drive this thing? Well, this is where the numbers stop and the legend really begins. I mean, what else do you even need to say? This quote from Evo just nails it. The car was a masterpiece of driving dynamics. It wasn't just fast, it was something that rewarded you, that thrilled you, and made every single drive feel like a special occasion. Okay, so it wasn't totally perfect. The one common complaint was that the gears in the manual were super, super long. But as Evo's editor-in-chief Stuart Gallagher points out, there's a flip side to that. It just meant you had more time in each gear to listen to that glorious flat six sing its way to the red line. And that's the real magic of this car. It had this amazing blend of track day sharpness and real-world usability. The steering was just perfectly weighted, the chassis felt telepathic, but somehow it could also handle a bumpy, normal road with unbelievable composure. It was a supercar you could genuinely use every single day. Okay, so it's a dream car, we get it, but let's talk real world for a second. Let's ground this legend in reality. What's it going to cost you now? And what else could you buy for the same money? When it was brand new, this car would have set you back just over £64,000. But today, since it's no longer made, you can find the first ones on the used market starting right around this number, £50,000. And look at where it sits compared to its rivals. For that 50 grand, you could have the incredibly light and agile Alpine A110. A bit more money gets you the raw, muscular BMW M2 CS. But the Cayman GTS 4.0, it just carves out this perfect little niche for itself, defined by that incredible blend of balance and precision. So let's tie this all together. Let's look at the legacy. Why is this car going to be remembered as one of the all-time greats? This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The GTS 4.0 was so good, it delivered almost all the thrills of its more expensive, more hardcore big brother, the GT4. It was the best of both worlds. You got motorsport-level performance in a package that was actually friendly enough for the road. But if you need one final piece of evidence for why this car is a legend, here it is. This is the mic drop moment from the review. The experts at Evo came to the conclusion that the Cayman GTS 4.0 is more fun and more involving to drive than a brand new 911 Carrera. To be called better than Porsche's own icon, that's the highest praise you can get. So there you have it. A shaky start, redeemed by a heroic engine, all wrapped up in a legendary farewell. It's a complete story arc. And as we move into a new era of cars, it leaves us all wondering, with the 718 gone, will we ever see an everyday combustion-powered sports car this perfect ever again?